Doesn't need to be hard. Just talking to the void. Don't even need to let go over at anything. I just need to play Minecraft and keep yapping. That'll be good enough. Be good enough for today. Hopefully this isn't too loud. I've been sitting around for an hour trying to do anything. And I've just been delaying starting, so I'm just gonna start. I'm just gonna start. It's the only way to move forward. Okay. Let's just put this there. Put that there. Chop these up. Okay. Alright. Guess I'll start this. Hi, my name is Perry. I'm playing Minecraft on a Minecraft SMP server. All that information is just on the top right of the screen. And I'm just going to be talking about life and things that I think are important and just some questions I have pulled up. And I'm just going to be playing Minecraft. I'm trying to build a cool, like, Wild West town here on this SMP server. I got some other guys that I play with, but they're not on right now. And right now I'm thinking I'm going to make a clock tower right here and some other buildings here. And I got to do some resource gathering and other things. But yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing. So feel free to stick around and listen to me yap, and feel free to also not. Just do what you gotta do. I hope my mic sounds okay and my game's not too loud and my music's not too loud, but I've been messing around with my settings for hours and I'm just not doing myself any favors. So, whoa, that's a lot of copper. So obviously I'm not starting from the very beginning. I have some things I've been playing on here for about 2 hours. All I really did was gathered some wood and set that up, so we're gonna be going from there. So let's start, I think, by probably, I don't have the resources to finish this. I probably should get some more oak. I need some more oak. I love spruce, but well, to be frank, I only have a lot of spruce, but I know I'm going to need more oak before I need more spruce. So I'm going to head out and try to get some of that done. I've got no armor and no real weapons. Like I said, I'm still pretty gosh darn fresh to this, but so I figure I should start recording before I get too far gone. So actually, you know what? This isn't going to stay here, but I'm just going to plop down 2 spruce trees because I am pretty gosh darn far from any sort of spruce biome. And so I want these growing here at our base. That way we can start our little spruce tree, little, whatever they're called. When you, what are those called? Lumber yards. Start a little lumber yard. And then I think I see some oak over there. But yeah, I'm just going to try to talk about this thing that can get some points if I write chat. What? Oh, I didn't read enough. It said no one was able to. I was sick. One of the guys, oh, way cool. There's a little thing here. I've also not explored much in this area. One of the other guys I'm playing with, though, he plans on helping me build out our little Wild West civilization, and he's gonna make a, oh sick, I'll leave these for him. He's gonna make a little like rail yard. I don't know if he even saw this stuff yet. I'm not breaking nothing. Way sick. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'm just gonna be chatting and yapping about just some things, and if anyone is chatting back to me, at least right now, I'm gonna probably not be able to see it just because trying to stay focused and not suck myself out. Just trying to have fun playing Minecraft while talking. And yeah, so that's all. So I got some questions here I got pulled up just to kind of ask myself. And that way I have something to yap about, because I don't think there's much more boring than just watching a YouTube video of a person play and they're just kind of gamer locked in, like us gamers often get. So I figured it'd be nice to say a few things. There's a couple plugins on the server, like whenever you chop down a tree all the way, it gets rid of all the leaves, but nothing too game breaking. But anyway, and I haven't read these questions yet, so if they're not good or if I don't have anything to say, if I have to think about it for a second, that's why. But first question I got is, what do I think the world needs more of right now? Shoot. What do I think the world needs more of? Probably peace, you know? I mean, I guess you could say that for all of Earth's time being around, but I don't know. Peace and love, I think. It's just, I feel like, you know, no matter who you are, where you are in the world, you know, what your culture is, anything like that, I just feel like people are just so scared. And I think there's so many people that just feel like they have to go in alone for everything in life. Just, I don't know. The world doesn't need to feel so lonely, you know? There's whatever even is it. There's like however many billion people that live on this planet, this big old blue rock. This is not blue rock, but this rock with some ocean. There's billions of people out there, and I feel like so many of us feel so alone. So I'd probably say, yeah, we gotta go back and go sleep. I don't have any armor or nothing, so we gotta head back. But yeah, I'd probably say peace, love, and friendship. You know, I think if everyone in this world felt loved, had a friend, and could find a moment of peace in their day, I think the world would be a better place, be a different place, you know? Whoa, just some mobs spawning. Yeah, you know, I mean, obviously, people might interpret that question and be like, well, if everyone had money, or if everyone had wealth, or if everyone had a house, but, you know, I've had I've had the pleasure of being able to live in some other foreign countries for a little bit, and to be able to see other cultures and see other parts of the world. And you know what I've learned from a lot of those places is, like, you really don't need to set up a chest inside this base first. That way we don't have to go keep running all the way out to that farther one. I don't even know what half these notifications are. And actually, I will set up a little tree farm. One thing I've learned from being out in those other cultures is just that you really don't need. Hello. You don't need. Sorry, I hope that wasn't too loud. I bet it was. Whoa. That was also pretty loud. Is that it? Yeah, you don't really need money and wealth and all that to be happy and to have peace. I mean, you know, having a roof over your head sure helps, but, you know, I've met a couple people that... Hello, creeper. Okay. I've met quite a few people that didn't have a roof over their head, and, you know, they were making the most of what they had. You know, I know some people that... Ooh, let me get these points. Hold on. Nether... Sick. Yeah, I know some people that live very luxurious lives and have great big houses and go to all these parties and these crazy other states just to have a good time, and by and large they look kind of miserable, and some of them self-admittedly are. And I think about some of those homeless people I would meet in Brazil. I guess they weren't necessarily homeless, they had small shacks that they built themselves, but homeless is what we would call it in the sense in America. And, you know, a lot of them struggled, but some of them, they were just making the most of what they had. I don't think that the world needs wealth. I don't think everyone needs a home necessarily. I mean, sure, it'd be nice, but if I had to narrow it down to a couple things, I just know the world needs more peace. People need more friends. People need more love. You know, everything else can follow that, you know. But, so, that's my answer to that question. Do I believe people are mostly good or mostly selfish? Well, I mean, there's kind of two ways to look at that question. I guess I'll look at it from a Christian perspective because I am a Christian. And I would say that I believe that it's human nature to be selfish, but it's God's nature and Christ's nature to be good. And I believe we have part of them in us, and I believe that we have that, the light of Christ in us. And so I think there's a, the dichotomy of good and evil there. You've got, I don't think people are necessarily one way or the other. I think it's a internal battle, a soul versus the flesh, almost, if you will. At least that's how I would go about answering that question. If I just meant like, and generally speaking, like which way do people succumb to more often than not? This might be a naive answer, but I think people are good. I think people are truly good, and I've met a lot of people that have had bad moments and have selfish moments, but I don't think I've met anyone that truly was just selfish for, you know, being selfish sake. Well, by and large, you know, I think that, and I know I've played some other games. I've played games like Rust, and I played kind of really competitive, kind of toxic games like CS:GO and all that. And Lord knows why I keep playing them. I just enjoy the gameplay more than the communities. But what I'm trying to get is you meet a lot of different kind of people playing those games, and a lot of the time people can be rather rude at times, or I guess as the gaming community might call it, rather toxic. But I even playing these games that really almost bring out the worst in the gaming community, I've really just met some great fun people. I've had some fun times. And I guess summarizing this question, kind of tying it all back in to itself, is I believe that people send out that which they receive, and vice versa. I think people receive that which they send out. And so if you're sending out toxicity and hate and selfishness into the world, odds are that's probably going to come back your way. And if you're sending out love and peace and joy into the world, I think it's going to come back to you. Doesn't mean it's guaranteed. Doesn't mean that you're going to have a wonderfully happy life filled with nothing but joy and prosperity. If you're a happy person, like you'll have hard times. But I think by and large, that's a rule of thumb I at least try to believe in. Let's see, what's my next question I got coming up here? Oh, no, Siri, I didn't talk to you. My phone just decided it wanted to come on. I didn't even say anything that sounded remotely like the phone's name. Next question. What role does technology play in shaping who we are becoming? Ooh, that is a good question. Sorry, I missed this tree. I mean, I don't want to mention this for political reasons because I know there's a lot of people that don't love the man at the moment. But to quote Elon Musk, or at least I believe I'm quoting Elon Musk, he talks about how Cyberlink and all that, and people comment that like he's turning people into cyborgs, and his retort to that is people are already cyborgs. And that what he means by that is, everyone has a phone with them. Everyone takes their phone wherever they go. You need your phone to get into your bank. You need your phone to get into work. All these things, like people are becoming reliant on technology for growth. And so, to answer the question, what role does technology play in shaping who we are becoming? I think it actually plays a scarily large role, in my opinion. And that's not to say I'm person that fears technology. I love technology. Like, I use ChatGPT more than I think anyone else I know. Just because it's I think greatly affecting the way it shapes us as humans doesn't mean we should be afraid of it. I think you could also ask the question of like, how does a chisel shape a, you know, marble piece? It's like, and I hope that's a real thing. I hope that we do use chisels to make marble pieces. I hope I'm not just pulling it out of thin air. But, you know, it's not about necessarily the chisel as much as it is about the person using the chisel. Like, the chisel didn't make the art piece, it facilitated the work. And I think the same can be true for technology. I think that it's not as much as it's making us become other people. I think it's just magnifying that what we already would have become. I hope that makes sense. And I hope that's a fair analysis. You know, there's obviously outliers there, but that's just my feel, my take on that. But I mean, to talk a little more about my life, I was born in the late '90s, like very late '90s, 1990, and or sorry, 1999. Very late '90s, 1990. No, that would make me much older than I am. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is I was able to grow up in a time where social media didn't really exist. In middle school, no one had like phones. I mean, we had flip phones, but not like iPhones. No, I guess I should say we had phones. We did not have smartphones. You know, I remember obviously having a flip phone. I flip it open, and I used the number pad to text my friends. And the funny thing is, like, I don't even know what numbers I was pushing, but if I had a phone in front of me right now, like an old flip phone, I could just instantly start smashing 0 through 9, and I could text just like I was back then. But the point I'm trying to make is I grew up at a time where technology was emerging. You know, I remember when iPhones started becoming more popular. I remember having an iPod Color or an iPod Color Shuffle in middle school and thinking I was the bee's knees, being so impressed how many songs you could have on it and all that. And so technology didn't have a great impact on my life during my, I guess, years of adolescence. I mean, years when you really kind of grow a lot into the person you're gonna become, where you kind of lay the framework of the person you will become. And I think that's the biggest difference between kind of people today versus the people that I grew up with. I just, you know, again, technology isn't going to make you someone you were never going to be. I stand by my previous statement. Like, technology just is going to amplify what you already would have become. But I don't know, I guess feel a little, not sad, but I don't know. Maybe sad is the right word. I feel like there's an opportunity missing for younger people these days. And, you know, they are connected more than me and my friends were connected. You know, we went and I had probably about a dozen people that I knew well and like 4 guys that like I just loved and adored, and we spent a lot of time together. But as far as like connectivity, I mean, teens these days and people like around that age caliber and younger, like they're so connected. Like, you know, like I don't think I could even tell you the names of 20 people I went to high school with. But I know I could get 12. But I feel like from my experience of talking with younger people is that it's just everyone's so connected. Everyone's so involved with what people are doing, what people are putting on the internet, and you know, and like it's a lot harder to kind of intentionally be left alone, so to speak. And if you do try, you're a real big outlier now than you would have been back when I was growing up. And you know, I think that is hard. I think that's hard for younger people because it's almost like a lot of unnecessary pressure on already pretty heavily pressured people. They've got just so many eyes on them watching them, and for better or for worse, I think that affects them. I don't know if it necessarily changes them to be different people. I mean, I guess in a way it would. Not different people, but you just get exposed to different culture. I guess that's maybe a better way of saying it. Is that they have a different culture, a more connected, more interwoven culture one with another. Whereas, again, I had some really close friends and a small community of friends, but nothing like what they have today. I mean, my friends affected who I became to a great degree. They kind of molded me in a certain path, and obviously I had my own agency and choice to listen to them and listen to their influence or not. But I think I'm kind of talking myself in circles here. But the point I'm trying to make is, I think that people now are just being younger people now, especially, are being bombarded with so many pressures and choices put on them by, I guess, technology, you could say. And I think that does affect who they become, and it does play a role in shaping who we become. But I don't think it's gonna make you someone you were never gonna be. If that makes sense. I hope it does. Overall, again, I'm trying not to doomsday here and say technology's evil or anything. I love technology. I think we should embrace technology, embrace the gifts God's given us. But I guess in conclusion, I think technology does play a role in shaping who we become, but I don't believe it is the sole thing that affects us. And I think that we still obviously have our agency to choose whether or not we're going to let it affect us to a great degree or not. And I mean, if you want, you can just, if you really want, you can just go run away and live in the mountains and avoid technology if you really want to not have it affect you. But I say it's not about what the chisel can do to the marble, but it's about what the person using the chisel does to the marble. So that's my answer to that. Hey, we got a lot of apples. Yeah, I'm running low on steak, so let's see here. Got a lot of wood. Probably, I think I saw a dark wood forest over there. I was probably gonna try to hit that up. Where's the sun at? I don't even know. The render distance is locked on this server. Otherwise, I would be able to see farther. It's a little further than it was earlier. I asked one of the moderators if he could up it a little bit, just because I live in this super sick valley, but I couldn't see to the edge of it, and I really wanted to. But next question on the docket. If I had the power to change one thing about society, what would it be? Whew. That's a hard one. You can interpret that question 1,001 ways. If I could change one thing about society, what would it be? Let me mull around that one for a second while we get up to these trees. Oh, are these still oak? I thought they'd be dark oak. It looked like dark oak from afar, but I think one thing I would change. Yeah. I guess, man, that's hard because this is just like I'm kind of. I guess I'll explain the thought process I'm going through. Originally, I thought like, well, one thing I want to change is I would make it societally taboo to lie, even like a minor lie. That way, we were just telling the truth more often. People were just who they were more often. But I think we as a society can choose to be more truthful. We don't need social norms to change for that, and so that's why I kind of backed down from that. If I had the power to change one thing with society, what would it be? This is what I'd have it be. Well, this is I'm at a mountain now. I thought I was going to a darkwood forest. I guess we'll go for a little hike. Try to find some either spruce or darkwood. We'll double back. Doesn't look like I'm gonna find any, but sorry, I was on the cusp of clarity as far as my question went, but whoa, emerald. Cool. Can I mine emerald with this? No, I can't. Sorry, I play a lot of modded Minecraft, and so if I do something silly as far as vanilla is concerned, I do apologize. It's just like I play a lot of modded Minecraft. I didn't even know there was armadillos until earlier today. I almost lost my mind, but I guess the one thing I'd change about society, or I guess revert back to a previous state in society, is I wish that people that had disagreements, opposing viewpoints, I wish we didn't like go for each other's jugular. I see this across different cultures, different like political views. Like, I feel like, I mean, even amongst Christians, like, I just, everyone's just, I guess, so vigorously involved in what they're doing. And, ooh, this is going to make an iron pickle when we go home. People are so vigorously involved in what they believe in, and I think they almost feel like people not believing in exactly what they believe in is a challenge to, what they're living. And people just get hostile. And I'm talking to everyone. This is no peoples in particular, like everyone. I've seen great people that I respect that with I understand their either political or theological point of view, and as soon as some people like that can meet some resistance, it just creates such a spirit of contention, you know. This is a nice song. Is this copyright free? Wow, it really is. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is, what I would change is I just wish that if we had a disagreement, we could just sit down over a drink and just talk about it, Like, I was on YouTube Shorts earlier today, doom scrolling, and I came across this live stream of a guy, and I'm pretty sure he was intentionally rage baiting, which I don't know why people do that. I don't know why you get aroused and just make people upset on the internet. But anyway, this guy, he had posted something very political as the heading of his stream, and had said like, so and so is ruining the country. Call my number and chat about on stream if you disagree. And it sounds like a very friendly invitation, but when I looked into the stream, I mean, this guy was just going at it on this caller he had on his show. Like this host was just pretty much full out like yelling at this guy, and they were like, he had somehow they were talking about like Bible verses and how like this guy didn't believe in the Bible because he was an atheist, and the host didn't, and something like that, and you could just tell like nothing productive was happening. Like the caller was also getting pretty ill-tempered because he was getting yelled at. And anyway, what I'm trying to get at is it doesn't matter necessarily the discussion they were having, rather just the mode of discourse. Nothing productive was happening. The host was just yelling at the caller and warning, and server will be cleared of entities and edits. Oh, okay, cool. Whoa, cool ravine. Yo, is that a clock tower? Sick. You picked a good base location. Wow, someone's been over here. Interesting. I don't even know why I came over here. Oh, I wanted dark wood, but it's not going to get any. Anyway, that's the thing I would change. I just wish we could go back to a time in society when, a person could say, hey, like, I really strongly disagree with your viewpoint. I think you're wildly misinformed and incorrect, and here's why. And the person could rebuttal in a certain sense and say, I do believe what I'm saying is true, and here's why I believe that. But now, like, I guess I don't want to say everyone's a know-it-all, because that has a kind of a rude connotation to it. It's just, how do I say this? I guess, I don't know. Everyone's afraid of being wrong. Everyone's afraid of having that gotcha moment happen to them. Did that not drop any trees? Except, there we go. I'll bring one of this over to the base. I think, everyone's afraid of getting like that gotcha moment, where everyone goes, ha ha, like, you've been caught on Candace camera, like, you were wrong on the internet for everyone to see. I think that doubles back to what we were talking about earlier. About, like, there's just so much pressure to, like, be right and do the right thing and stick with societal norms that are present currently. And I just wish people were more okay with being wrong, I wish that we could all sit together and, like, actually have our minds changed, and not, like, in a rage baity sort of way, where people are like, hey, like, I think this is the case, like, try to change my mind, when that person has no real intention of having their mind changed. I think the world would be a much better place if, oh, there we go, we're back up and running. I think the world would be a much better place if we all just listened to each other. We weren't so quick just to cut each other off and go for the jugular, like I had mentioned earlier. And so that would be the thing I change about society. Just making people more willing just to listen. You never know when, even if the person you're talking with, even if the person you're talking with is wrong, and you know they're wrong, learning a skill from the furnace. Even if you're talking with someone you know they're wrong, or at least you strongly feel they're wrong according to what you know, I really do believe that there's great value in just listening to them, not cutting them off, just listening to them, because you never know when you're gonna learn something new. There could be a kernel of truth to what they're saying. There could be insight you hadn't thought of before in what they're saying. And just to kind of cut people off and say, no, I'm right, you're wrong, you cut yourself off from so much knowledge, so much potential knowledge you could have. You know what I'm saying? And so that would be the thing I would change with society. Sorry, I kind of rambled on that one for a long time, and I got kind of too deep into other rabbit holes. But yeah, just make it a world where people are happy being wrong and just happy to sit down and have a genuine conversation about something. And feel free to have their mind changed, you know? Okay, let's move on to their next question. I am also still trying to play the game. I haven't actually done anything with the building. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do anything with the building right now just because I'm too engrossed in the conversation I'm having or the questions I'm answering. But here, the skeletons underneath me. I really do unscramble the word. What is that? Guests. Luckily, I'm the only person on the server, so I don't have to go fast at all. Sick. I really do need to find some spruce. I mean, let's see here. I've got a little bit of spruce and no dark oak. I mean, I've got crazy amounts of oak in the base now, but I guess maybe I'll do a little bit of terraforming, just a little bit. So I know I want some dirt patches kind of going through the main strip of the town, and I know I want the town to go left. So we'll do that, get a little change of pace, a little change of scenery from just mining trees endlessly. But I'll do this while I answer my next question. So the question is, what do I think people struggle, or why do I think people struggle so much with loneliness today? That's a good question, dang. You know, it's paradoxical, right? Because, like I was mentioning earlier, the world has never been so connected. There, with our phones, our smartphones, the world has never been more connected. You know, but yet people all over the world feel so lonely. And I really think that part of that is humans need and desire genuine face-to-face human interaction, human touch, human interactions. And I think when we're just looking at our tiny phones and tiny screens and looking at just videos of people, I think it takes the human out of it. I think it almost makes our souls crave for more because they know that they're not getting what they want. And so, I'm using the wrong tool. So I think that's a big contributor. I also think it comes down to a lot of I think there's a lot of fear mongering that happens in medias and social medias, and it kind of makes people scared and make them feel like they are kind of alone, and that everything gets brought to an individual level, which you'd think would make things more personal, but it kind of just takes the community out of things. I mean, people struggle with loneliness even before the internet was super huge. So you can't just say it's just the internet's fault because I remember in high school, again in high school we had smartphones or we were getting smartphones, but not like today. But regardless, in high school, I remember feeling at times lonely, and I had a great community of people around me. I had good friends that I went and hung out with a lot, and I just think a large part of that is, I do, I think that is. Let's come together nicely. Why did I feel lonely in high school? Probably, probably because of this. I think because everyone, I guess not everyone, I shouldn't say blanket statements. I guess a lot of people struggle with serum syndrome. There it is. Imposter syndrome. And I think people and media and all the rest kind of makes us tend to think that more than it ought to. And so I think that's part of the reason we feel lonely is because we sometimes don't even feel like we have ourselves in a real sense. Here, let me take these back. Start planting trees. These aren't gonna have trees in them in the future, but I really just need wood. I don't want to go climb all the way up to that mountain to get wood. It's really already night again. I think a lot of people just struggle with imposter syndrome, and I think that if people just learn to love themselves, accept themselves, be comfortable in their own skin, I think that one, you would feel like you had yourself on your own back. You had yourself watching your back in a certain sense. But ooh, perfect. More money. Villager. Sick. So if we just kind of trusted ourselves more and believed in ourselves more and have more self-confidence, I think that would help with the loneliness issue just because we would be more confident in the people and persons we are. Following that vein, I think too is that because a lot of people struggle with their own self-identity, it becomes hard for them to connect with others because they're not necessarily sure with what they're doing in their own lives. If that makes sense. I hope it does. If you were comfortable with the person you were and you were happy with how everything was working in your own personal life, I think you'd be less inclined to, or I guess you'd be more inclined to understand other people and understand their point of view, or at least attempt to. That was a good answer for that. Kind of rambled on that. That is a good question. I wish I could have answered it a little better than I did, but let's see here. Is it nighttime yet? It's not. Sure, looks like nighttime. I guess maybe I'll start crafting some oak. Man. Maybe I go put the framework of the rest of the village down, or not maybe the whole rest of the village, but some of the village. Take some oak out with me, and then I'm gonna need some spruce. Let me chuck these back in. Go grab some spruce from over here. Okay, let's ask a question about. Let's see the questions about myself. It's a lot of really good, deep world questions, but let's also ask questions about me. Very fittingly, the first question I just read on this list is, when do I feel most like myself? Kind of funny, because it's in a small sense what we were just talking about. I feel like it's so gloomy. How come it's not night right now? Interesting. And something I realized for this clock tower is I might scrap this because I want all the buildings here to be raised, just like you see them in like the Wild West style buildings. They're all kind of raised off the ground a little bit. So shoot. So I might do that with that. I don't know. We'll see how committed I am later. That's not lining up. Do I want it to line up is actually better unlined. It actually might. One, two, three. Okay, there's no way it's not night right now. It is incredibly dark. Thank you. When do I feel most like myself? I don't know. You know, I think it depends because I think there's almost different sides of me as a person where I feel like, you know, a little more counting. Is that gonna be big enough? Yeah, that's plenty big. I want these buildings to be too big because there's gonna be a whole ton of them. It's gonna be a whole village. I'll kind of build this up a little bit, and then I do know I want these to be oak afterwards. I might do planks across. Actually, yeah, I will do planks across. I should make all of that. Getting back to my question, I think it really depends just because there are times when I feel like myself in different ways. Sorry, that's not a great way of answering that, but what I'm trying to say is like there are times like per se when I'm at church, and you could say that at those times I feel a lot like myself when I'm talking about the Gospels and all the rest. I feel like a very real sense of myself that I don't feel at other parts of my life. But then when I go per se and play video games with my brothers or with my pals online, I like am laughing and I'm just like sometimes I'm in hysterics because we're having such a good time. And at those times, I feel most like myself. Sometimes it's when I'm just watching a show with my wife and just having a calming, relaxing day. I feel most like myself, and I shouldn't say selves, but and so essentially what I'm trying to grasp at is there's many. How do I even put this? It's kind of a difficult question. Oh, actually, do I want there to be a little outside deck? Yeah, I do. That'll be sick. Just a little one, just like a little like 3, and then maybe that in the back. Yeah. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is there are times when I feel like myself in different ways, just because I am a very different person at church versus in my day-to-day life. I should say very different, but is this the Tetris theme song? Sure sounded like it. Is this the Tetris theme song? Sorry, I'm kind of getting a little distracted by that song. But and so anyway, in summary to the question, I can feel like myself most in different ways in different places. When I'm with, I guess, maybe let me rephrase the question. I'm starting to kind of lose myself, especially as I now start to build. I'm going to say, when do I feel most like my true self? Myself in my truest form. My most real self. I'm out, Spruce. To answer that question, you know, I think I feel the most. I guess I should do this. Have to be a double entry this way. That's nice. I feel most like my truest self when I am spending quality time with my family or having deep theological discussions with friends. Just because when I'm doing that, like, it just gets my brain firing, you know? And, like, I really feel alive. Kind of like what I'm doing now. I'm kind of fumbling some of these questions, but I really I love just having deep intellectual conversations. Like, it just makes just a part of my brain just so thrilled. Just to, I don't know, be thinking. Almost like how some people feel when they play, like, certain, like, logic games. It's just, I just love the way when, like, my brain's just kind of, like, soaking it up in a sense, you know. So that's what I feel like my truest self, when I'm having deep theological discussions, and when I'm just spending quality time with my family, especially my wife. Like, especially when we're on vacation, I can just kind of let loose and relax. So, hard question, especially hard following up the thing I was just saying. Let's do another question about myself, and hopefully I can not fumble this one as badly. Sick. Let's get some of these replaced with spruce. What are you most proud of, even if no one else knows about it? The thing I'm most proud of, even if no one else knows about it. I don't know. The thing I'm most proud of. Cutting iron here. I do. I ponder that for a second. Thing I am most proud of. You know, I guess probably my son. Uh, yeah, I'd say my son. It's obviously, I think the question's more leading to like a thing I have done with my life and more private thing. But I think the only real answer I can come up with is my son. I'm most proud of my son. Um, and the reason I'll give, and why not my daughter is, my son. He's my oldest. He's just a little baby right now, but he had a hard time when he was first born. He struggled when he came out. He just first well, I guess a little bit of backstory to that. It may I don't think it actually has a correlation to the actual event, but my sweet wife, she got in a car accident. She rear-ended somebody going pretty fast because she was checking her mirror or something, seeing behind her, and regardless, she got into a pretty serious crash. The whole front of our car got like completely folded in on her. And at the time, she was I think 4 months pregnant, and I remember like we just instantly like we went straight to the doctors, and I remember the whole time just praying and praying that my son was gonna be okay. And at the time, we actually didn't know it was gonna be a boy. And I remember just being so unbelievably worried, like worried sick, worried in a way that unless you're a parent that's gone through something like that, or unless you're a person that's experienced like just really scary health stuff, like it's hard to even fathom the amount of worry it can come to. So and so anyway, I was really scared and worried, and they said that even though it was a pretty gosh darn big crash, that he was going to be okay. And that he looked like he was going to pull through. His heart rate was still steady, and they said we'd keep monitoring it. And that's actually when we found out we were having a boy, is because they had to do kind of like an emergency ultrasound, and they were able to tell us that we were having a boy. And so we were actually in the hospital waiting for our son to come. Uh, he when he eventually did decide to show up after a pretty long labor, he just for some reason he didn't want to breathe. He just had a really hard time getting that. His little body just didn't want to breathe for some reason. Oh goodness, the stress. I just because so they had to have him on oxygen for several hours, and this was all during COVID, and so we're in the hospital, and like none of our family can be there, and my wife's being tended to by nurses in a completely different room, and I'm just whisked away to some other room with my baby boy son, and he's just got like these wires up in his nose, and he just can't breathe, and I'm trying to help him best I can, doing what the doctors are telling me to do, like helping clear the bubbles that were coming out of his throat. I was just hoping he could get through, you know. I remember just like telling my son, I was like, just hang in there, little man. Like, just make it, okay? Just make it for me and your mom, and you know, we want to have a life with you. We want to be your parents and all the rest. And so anyway, in conclusion, in life, I'm most proud of my son because he was strong enough to get here and to stick it through all the hard things he went through, even before he actually even got here. I'm so proud of him for surviving that crash and for once he got here and was in the hospital and wasn't wanting to breathe, he powered through it eventually, and we were able to get him off oxygen after several hours, and it's been pretty much smooth sailing since then with a lot of minor complications reoccurring. But so that's why I'm proud of him. You know, even if no one else knows it, like I'm proud of my son because he made it. He, you could tell he didn't want to at times. He was fading out, but he stuck it through, and he's given me and his mother a shot at raising him. And now he's bigger. He actually we celebrate half birthdays in our family. He just turned 3.5, and gosh, I love him more than anything. I'm proud of him for sticking it out and getting home to us. So let's see here. Actually, a nice nighttime. I wish we could make it so it was peaceful mode. But I don't think we have the capabilities of doing that. I just wish we could just enjoy this night. Nope. That zombie said, I was thinking about it, and that zombie said, you want to come and enjoy this? Next question. What we got? Whoa. How have you changed in the past year? And in what ways am I still the same? Hey, buddy. Well, just as far as in my personal, I guess, life events, you could call it. Yeah, that's kind of nice. I'll need to put some stairs and slabs and stuff to kind of make it look a little different. In fact, I will, I think, get some dirt. Nope, that is not dirt. I'll get some. Oh wait, can I do clay pots? Wait, how do I? No, clay pot. You think you could make clay pots with Ericotta, but sorry, I'm really slow at typing. Don't get too much of a kick out of it, but I don't even know what we could do with the money the game gives us. I just always fill this out. Let's do spruce, oak, and spruce. That is uneven. It's gonna bother me. Ooh, I do not like the way that turned out. Maybe we do. I don't think I like that. As far as life events goes, me and my wife actually pulled a little switcheroo, and she's actually, because I was working full time and going to school, and it was becoming a little too killer for me. And my wife was very kind. She tapped me on the shoulder and she tapped in, and she's actually now being the provider for our family, and she's making it so I can more easily go to school and get my degree. And so I'm eternally thankful for her for doing that for me and for our family. And so that's definitely just a very, very real way I've changed this year, is that I am no longer the sole provider for our family. And my wife's doing that right now while I go to school. I'm really, really grateful for her for doing that. It means the world to me that I have a wife that is confident enough in her own abilities to do that, and volunteer for it. And just I couldn't be more thankful for her and how she's done that. And then, in what ways am I still the same? I guess a lot. I'm still the same in a lot of ways. I still have my same sense of humor. I still watch YouTube more than I probably should. Um, I still, I guess make mistakes, and I still am learning. Uh, but I'm trying. I guess another way that I've changed this year over last year is I'm really trying to pursue my dreams, not just pursue that which is most financially good, I guess you could say. Just because, it's at the end of the day, my life's my life, and I can only live it the way I want to live it, and that's what I'm gonna do. One day I'm gonna leave this world behind, and whenever I get where I'm going, I want to be able to confidently say that, when I was here, I didn't live my life a certain way because someone wanted me to. I lived my life my way because I wanted to. I don't want to have my whole life go by and regret not making certain choices or wish I had done things differently. I want to take full account of my life and be proud of the life I live. And, there is a lot of pride to be found in just providing for your family, but, I wanted more. And I'm thankful again for my wife for helping me pursue my dreams and believing in me. And so, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Here we go. This is coming together a little bit. Probably slab that up. Yeah. I'm liking that. Alright. Let's... Oh, man. You know what? I really like what I did with that one. Now I'm looking at it, and I am really not liking how basic that one looks. Is this spruce or is this oak? This is spruce. Huh. Let me maybe just get some slabs and stairs, see if I can't give that a little more depth and bring that to life. Also make some buttons, not too many. Some slabs. Let's see if we can't make this a little prettier. Alright. Let's go over here. Okay, and then... Okay. Let's do 2 more questions, and then I probably have to call. It is getting kind of late for me. Okay, hold on. No rush, because again, I'm one person on the server. Sick. Okay, that's helping a lot. Maybe this could be our jail. No, we wouldn't put our jail by our clock tower. I don't know if it's big enough for to be our hotel. Maybe bank? It could be our bank. Not enough room for like a vault room. I guess I would have like, you'd walk in, there'd be like a teller, like here. Is that too? No, that's good. Okay. Alright. I'd have to expand the building out the back, which I'm not opposed to. I guess I will. I'll expand this building out the back. I'll add a little vault. And then the practical purpose of this will obviously be where I keep like my deepest storage. Let's go kind of build it into this side of the mountain a little bit. Use the terrain. Respect the topography. Mold to it, conform to it. I don't know if I'm gonna need all of this space actually, but maybe I can do like a little like a vault right here, couple chests, and then maybe like some I know I'm not playing modded. I was gonna say filing cabinets, but let's see here. I do need some more stairs and slabs. criminal, you put in 6 blocks, you get 4 stairs out of it. Minecraft, you gotta fix your game. You gotta fix your game. Builders out here, we're struggling. Especially when you're trying to do builds like this in biomes where none of the blocks are nearby. It's like I'm gonna have to go on a 12-day journey just to go farm spruce. I didn't even make enough slabs. Okay, perfect. Let's finish this up. Okay, 2 more questions then. We'll kind of pause up our build as I wrap up yapping, and I'll try to record this again tomorrow. Let's see. We'll do one more about the world, one more about me. I guess let's do what are some habits or routines that I do that help me feel grounded? I think probably one of the healthiest habits I do is I play instruments. I don't actually have to read sheet music, but I love playing the steel pan. I love playing my mandolin, my ukulele. I really love doing that kind of stuff. Just something about it, just like I don't know, just makes me feel so alive and connected to the world. And so yeah, that's what I would say for. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Yeah, I love playing instruments. I love taking time playing instruments with my kids. We do like a little music class with them. It's currently not presently running just because it doesn't run during the summers. But okay, I actually kind of like this little peeky hole. There's like a robber that's coming over here, and they've kind of dug this hole and they scout out the bank before they pull off the heist. Kind of like that. It's a good idea. Okay, I couldn't have done that worse. Yeah, so just instruments. I love playing instruments. Even though I'm not playing them, professionally or super well, this really helps make me feel grounded and present in the moment. You know what I'm saying? So I think there's a lot of good value to that. It's kind of a little too much dimensionality going on with this. Maybe we chop off this and we just do upside down stairs to the top. That was good. That was a nice, quick, and easy one about myself. Not too complicated. I know I said I like having deep conversations, but I will say my brain is getting a little cooked from all the wonderful deep conversations. Let's do one more. We'll do another peeky hole. Actually, no, we won't, because we'll probably slap that out. I wish that was peaceful so we could enjoy the nights. It's just good vibes in the mesa at nighttime. Okay. Let's do one more question about the world and humanity. Let's see here. Where were we? We were on. I love this question. Okay. So, next question is it possible for everyone to be truly happy? Why not? Yeah, absolutely. You know? And that doesn't mean I don't think some people are gonna have an easier time experiencing happiness than others. You know, if you have a really like close knitted family or a strong group of friends around you, like yeah, you're gonna hopefully have an easier time experiencing friendship, or not friendship, experiencing happiness and being truly happy. But I do believe that everyone is going to be able to be happy in this life. Just because I believe that if we all are pursuing the things we want to pursue because we want to pursue them, I really think that leads to happiness. One, I think personally, again, as a Christian, I believe that coming to Christ and learn about Him that brings happiness into your life. Uh, I think just having just a wholesome family fun, whether that's even with family, like whether that's with your friends or with your family. I think that having just wholesome recreation brings happiness. And obviously, I know again, some people have easier access to that stuff than others, but I do believe that if you have, maybe this is a good way of saying it, if you have your heart set on being happy, you're gonna be happy. You're gonna find a way, whether you're going through tragedy, whether you're going through heartbreak, if you really focus in on that and say, I'm not gonna let this change me. I'm gonna be happy. Whether the world wants me to be today or not, I'm gonna be happy because I want to be happy. I think that this is coming together a little bit. I really like this. I think if you set your heart on being happy, you're gonna be happy, 100%. Like, might not come instantly, but I'm a firm believer I'm a firm believer that happiness is a choice. And it's not the easiest choice a lot of the time. But if you keep putting happiness out into the world, I bet you it's going to come back to you. I guarantee it. So let's do a little kind of quiet recap of everything we did today. We I wasn't really talking about why I did it, but we made an impromptu tree farm, so we don't have to go eons away for wood. We didn't really do any work on the clock tower, but we did a lot of work on this bank, which I'm super thrilled about. I'm really like how this comes across. I'll probably do some iron farming tomorrow and get like whatever they're called, the jail pieces or the I'm thinking about the rails or whatever. Why is it? Oh yeah, don't show me what I can build. Show me everything. What are they called? Why can't I think of it right now? The little grate, the little prison grate thing. I'll put that right here. That way it's kind of more like a old-fashioned, old-timey bank teller thing. And so I'm hoping to finish the bank tomorrow. I don't think I'll finish the clock tower tomorrow just because I really want to do a good job on that one. I know I want spruce for that one. And then as far as resources, we got a crazy amount of oak wood. We got a little bit of iron that was able to give us some iron tools to help us out. And then as far as what we discussed, we were talking about a lot of great things actually. We talked about life, my humble thoughts on some things, and again, you're welcome to disagree with me, and if you do, please tell me why. I'm gonna try to listen to my own advice that I said earlier and just really just try to keep my heart and my mind open to new thoughts and hopefully learn something. I hope you all enjoyed this time that we've had together. Whether it's just me here talking to the void, or if there's one person out there that's listening that's enjoying this, I'm thankful to be alive. I'm thankful to have lived the life I live, to have the viewpoints I do have, and to have the peace I do have in my life. And I hope that as I keep playing Minecraft and expressing the thoughts I feel, that I hope that I'll be able to have a deeper appreciation for my life and hopefully help maybe even just one more person find a deep appreciation that they can experience in their life. So that's all we'll end it for today. Thanks again so much for joining me.